My rideshare driver gave me a concerned look in the rearview mirror and said, "Man, they really did you wrong." I was confused. "What are you talking about?" I asked. He snorted, pointing his head toward my apartment building as we pulled up. "I saw the whole thing happen last week. I thought you were dead." A surge of panic hit me. "What happened?" I asked. He stopped the car and gave me a look that made me feel stupid. "Your family. The Porsche, the guy who took it didn't even know how to drive it. He almost hit the gate." Every hair on my body stood up. My family sold my car, and some idiot drove it off as if he were stealing it. I threw a 50 at the driver and ran inside. The doorman offered a sad smile. He knew. The security guard at the front desk avoided my gaze. He knew, too. The concierge was about to speak, but I was already sprinting toward the elevator dot. My hands trembled as I unlocked my apartment. Taped to the fridge was a single piece of paper with no greeting or apology. Just a note, in all caps, from my stepmother. "Thanks to your car, your sister is finally happy. You should be proud." I stared at it, a cold fury rising within me. Proud. They wanted me to be proud, to be grateful for them taking the one thing I had earned on my own. My apartment walls felt like they were closing in, and the air was thin. I ran a hand through my hair and let out a shaky breath, my mind racing. If they thought I would just accept this, they had no idea what was coming. I didn't call, text, or scream at my stepmother. That's what they expected. That's what they wanted. Instead, I sat at my desk, cracked my knuckles, and logged into my bank account. The savings I used for the Porsche's upkeep, insurance, and upgrades were gone, completely wiped out. A slow, chilling smile spread across my face. They were bold. Selling the car wasn't enough. They had to take my money to... This meant one thing. They sold the Cayenne for far less than it was worth. My fingers flew across the keyboard, searching local auto listings. My car was a custom, one-of-a-kind Model matte black Turbo GT with a red interior and 640 horsepower. It would be easy to find. My phone vibrated violently against the desk. Stepmom flashed on the screen. I ignored it. 2 seconds later, Dad appeared. I ignored that, too. Then my sister. Then my stepmother again, followed by a text. "Why are you ignoring us?" "Just answered the phone. We need to talk." I almost laughed. Now, they wanted to talk. I put my phone down, opened my laptop, and logged into my Porsche Connect account. Right there, blinking on the screen like a divine signal, were the GPS coordinates for my Cayenne. They hadn't even bothered to deactivate the tracking system. A slow, predatory grin spread across my face as I grabbed my jacket. If they thought this was over, they were dead wrong. I didn't go to the address right away. That would have been foolish. Instead, I parked a block away and waited. The location was a house in a wealthy but gaudy suburb, one of those places with perfectly manicured lawns and homes that looked like they were designed by a realtor who had just discovered Greek columns. I turned off the engine and watched. It wasn't long before I saw it. My car, parked in the driveway as if it belonged there. The matte black paint seemed to glow under the street lights. Someone was inside, music blaring from the open windows, some dreadful pop song I couldn't identify. The idiot in the driver's seat was tapping his hands on my steering wheel. I squinted. A white Ralph Lauren polo, a backwards cap. Even from a distance, I could tell he was the type of guy who called himself an entrepreneur but still asked his parents for gas money. This was who they sold my car to. I felt insulted. Then the front door opened, and my sister walked out. She was laughing, hanging on his arm like a lovesick fool. To twist the knife, she leaned into the passenger seat of my Porsche and kissed him. Everything clicked. This wasn't just some guy, it was her husband, the honeymoon, the one my car had paid for. I gritted my teeth, fighting the urge to walk over and rip him out of my driver's seat. But I wasn't stupid. I wanted this to hurt. I pulled out my phone, opened the Porsche Connect app, and did the most logical thing I could think of. I locked the doors. The music stopped, and the guy in my car looked confused. I watched him try the door handle. Nothing. He tried again, harder. Still nothing. He started talking, maybe to my sister, maybe to himself, but I wasn't finished. I tapped another button. The engine turned off. The lights died, and the inside went black. I could almost feel his panic. To drive the point home, I tapped one more button and set off the alarm. The moment the alarm started wailing, I watched. My sister and her idiot husband jumped like they'd been hit with a stun gun. The headlights strobed violently, and the horn blared in 3-second intervals like a police siren from hell. The guy in my car, let's call him Chase, slammed his hands on the wheel, yanking at the door handle with the kind of desperation reserved for burning buildings. It wouldn't budge. I leaned back in my seat, tapping my fingers on my phone and enjoying the show. My sister lost it. What the hell is happening? Chase? I don't know, he snapped, still pulling at the handle like a chimpanzee discovering object permanence. It just shut off. I can't get out. My sister, ever the genius, started kicking the door. Meanwhile, the neighbors' lights came on one by one. People peered through blinds, stepped onto porches, and muttered to each other in the universal language of what's going on. That's when my phone vibrated. Stepmom was calling. I let it ring. Then my sister. Then my dad. A text popped up from my stepmother. "Turn it off now." I smiled. Now they wanted my attention. Another text from my sister. "WTF is wrong with you? You're embarrassing us." Oh, sweetheart, I thought, I haven't even started. I tapped into the Porsche sound system, enabled voice-to-car messaging, and took a slow, satisfied breath before speaking into my phone, enjoying the honeymoon inside the Cayenne. Chase screamed, and my sister shrieked. Their heads whipped around as if I were the car from Christine. The alarm continued to blare. Then I delivered the final blow. I tapped one last button, remote window control, and every window on my Cayenne slid down at the same time. Chase scrambled back, pale as a ghost. My sister's jaw dropped. Then, loud enough for the entire neighborhood to hear, I spoke into the mic one more time. "Get the expletive out of my car." A stunned silence. Chase launched himself out of the driver's seat, hitting the pavement so hard I went. My sister just stood there, gaping like a deer in headlights. I could see the realization dawning on her. She knew I wasn't done. My sister stood frozen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Chase was still on the pavement, blinking at my Porsche as if it had personally threatened his lineage. His Ralph Lauren polo was stretched at the collar, and for a second, I thought he might cry. I let the silence linger, letting them feel it. Then I turned the alarm off. The neighborhood remained awake, people still peeking through windows, porch lights flickering on. My phone buzzed again. Stepmom, you are being insane. Turn off the car. I chuckled. Then I tapped the mic button again. Chase, I said. He flinched. Do you still have the title? His eyes darted to my sister, who was clearly realizing she had screwed up. I don't know, man, he stammered. Your parents, not my parents. My voice was smooth and even. My stepmother, who had no legal right to my car, and my father, who wouldn't help me if I was on fire. I tilted my head. So, I'll ask again. Do you have the title? His throat bobbed. No. I smiled. Then you don't have a car. His face crumpled. Dude, I paid for this. Oh, I said, raising an eyebrow. Let me guess. She gave you a family discount. What was it? 20 grand? His silence confirmed it. I whistled. And you didn't think it was weird that a $200,000 Cayenne Turbo GT was going for the price of a expletive Camry? His face twisted. She said it was a gift. I laughed. And you believed that? I turned to my sister. She was still frozen, her eyes darting between me and Chase as if trying to find an escape route. You really thought I wouldn't find out? I asked her. She swallowed. Mom said ... Oh, I bet she did, I said, taking another step. Tell me, when you were sipping those overpriced cocktails on that honeymoon, did it ever cross your mind that you were spending my money? Her face turned red. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I said, exhaling sharply. You let them strip me of my car, my savings, and then you have the audacity to act surprised when I take it back. Chase, to his credit, was smart enough to stay quiet. My sister? Not so much. You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be, she snapped. It's just a car. You can buy another one. I stared at her, and that's when I realized she didn't regret it. She just regretted getting caught. My grip on my phone tightened. Oh, sweetheart, you have no idea how big this is about to get. I took a slow breath. My sister was defiant, but her arms were wrapped around herself as if trying to squeeze out the guilt. Chase looked like he was regretting every life choice that led him here. I turned the alarm back on. The siren shattered the night again, sending Chase scrambling back. My sister shrieked, slapping her hands over her ears. Then, before either of them could say a word, I pulled up the engine settings and scrolled to an option called Immobilizer. Lock. With one tap, my Cayenne became a $200,000 lawn ornament. Oops. I smirked. What did you do? Chase panted. I pocketed my phone. I, too,